Hey, what up everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you. This is going to be a discussion video. I got a little bit of time to kill in the car after the gym before I go over and pick up my kids from their school. So we're just going to, shoot the shit for a little bit, and I'm going to pray that you guys will shoot some good comments down there in the comment box, and we can get a good little discussion going. I wish this is one of the days I was sitting at home and I could do like one of those videos I haven't done in a while, where I just take calls and act like this is a freaking radio show and get another side of the story. But basically, when I was in there working out, riding on the machine in there, I was on NoDQ.com. They posted up a little article about the future of TNA, and I thought it was pretty good. It talked about how Kurt Angle was going to be appearing at the Bound for Glory weekend. He's going to be doing in the Hall of Fame. He's going to be appearing on the Bound for Glory pay-per-view, but as of this time, there's no plan on him wrestling. They're going to hold off his wrestling return until into the upcoming next year. So that means like we're not even going to see Kurt Angle wrestle until 2014. At this same time, I received an email because I emailed into TNA and asked them, what's Kurt Angle's plan for Bound for Glory. I mainly wanted to know if he was going to be signing at the Fan Access, because they've only gave us the first listing of people who's going to be there. And honestly, if Bully Ray wasn't on that list, it really wouldn't blow me away. Of course, if you bought the travel package or the VIP weekend, you can meet Sting, and that's one name, to cross off the list of legendary guys that I've met. He's just not my favorite guy, but I've opened up that wound twice and spilled my guts on Sting. But with the upcoming year, basically the Carters are trying to figure out what they're going to do with this company. Are they going to close it down? Or are they going to sell it? I listened to the Wrestling Observer podcast, and Dave Meltzer went over it and just basically said, the Carter family's not just going to want to close this down and just basically take this as a whole loss. They're basically going to want to shop this, and they're basically going to want to sell it, even if it's just for scrap. They're going to want to get something back for everything that they put in. This was honestly probably one of the worst investments that they've ever made, trying to get into the wrestling business. I have no clue why Dixie Carter looked at this. If you go back and you watch it's on one of the documentaries. I think it's on the Year One documentary. I guess that Jeff Jarrett and Dixie Carter were neighbors in some apartment complex, I think when they were living in Dallas. And she took this as fate when Jeff Jarrett walked in trying to sell the company to the investors of Panda, which Dixie Carter was in charge of. She, saw this as a huge, major sign in her life that things could turn around. The Year One documentary from TNA, honestly, is a really good documentary. It's one of the best DVD documentaries that I think they've put together. TNA in a whole, I think, is losing a lot of money. Just basically by not making DVDs. You can see companies like Ring of Honor, and there's other independent companies that are held up and stable and supported by their DVD sales. People need the DVDs because that's the only way they can keep up with what's going on. And as wrestling fans, honestly, a lot of us are collectors, whether you collect t-shirts or wrestling figures or DVDs, magazines. We want something to show for our love of wrestling. I love DVDs. I love t-shirts. I buy an occasional figure here and there, and I try to get myself not to. But, if I really like a certain character or something like that, I want to have their merchandise. Not only to support the person and put some money into their pocket, but to, basically show my love for that person. I have no problem walking around town in a James Storm t-shirt or anything like that. And I think that's why most people buy the t-shirts. But, TNA has really gotten out of the DVD business. I think it was a year, maybe longer ago, they lost their distributor for their DVDs. I don't know how hard they really tried to find somebody to be out there, but I mean, this isn't a company that's really hard trying to sell these DVDs. Yeah, they put out their pay-per-view DVDs, and they've put out, like, they've got a few sets out there, the triple threat box sets where you get 3 pay-per-views in one set. Most of the time they sell for like $12. That's $4 a show. Or they were doing the twin packs, something like that, where you got 2 shows for the price, whatever they are. They normally sell for $15 to $20. That's a great bargain, especially if you can find 2 shows that are back-to-back. But, you know, being a wrestling fan, if you don't want to buy all the pay-per-views, if you don't want to buy all the shows, a lot of us like to buy, like, the WWE box sets that come out, where they're 3-disc sets or 2-disc sets of certain wrestlers. And TNA has made them on certain wrestlers, but they've never followed them up. I mean, like, most of these DVDs of, like, Sting and Samoa Joe and Kurt Angle, AJ Styles, these were made in, like, 2005 or 2006. There's no way in the world you say you can't string together 10 matches on one disc, you know, to put this out there. It seems like they just want to make one DVD so they can put it on the shelves at Shop TNA, or they can put it on the table at the merch stand when they do the live shows, and people will buy them up. But the only problem is that people will go to the table and they'll buy the one Sting DVD. But then the next year when they go to another live show, or the next year you guys do a sale on the website, they go and they want to buy some DVDs. You don't have another Sting DVD. They're not going to buy a second one no matter how cheap you make it. But almost everybody in the whole company. I have the Immortal DVD and I haven't watched it. That was one of the last documentaries that they made. But there's one called Year One, and honestly, I see that thing sell on secondary news sites, or not news sites, on DVD sites, Amazon.com. This thing sells for under $3, almost 100% of the time. If you don't have that and you have an hour and a half to kill, go buy that documentary. It's one of the best ones that they've ever done. I can't tell you that it's a standalone next to some WWE ones, but it's good. And you'll get your money's worth out of it. There's matches, there's the documentary, and it's worth it. I promise you that. But now, you know, TNA is looking to maybe kill off doing the live events, saying that they're a loss and they're not going to make anything off of them. If you do that, I think there's a good chance that they're not going to be able to get wrestlers to fill in their roster. They're losing a lot of their guys. They don't want to. They don't even want to talk to AJ Styles about renewing the contract that he just signed an extension onto till after Bound for Glory to see how this is going to pan off. Hogan's deal ended October 1st. Everybody knows that Sting's deal is always up in that January to February slot, somewhere around there. You know, Bully Ray's renewed, but they don't really have any guys to be at the top of the roster, and they're not really good at creating stars. As you can see, they created Chris Sabin. They thought that the belt would make a wrestler. He was a guy with a fan base, but he was a fan base of a mid-carder, and, you know, fans were excited to see this guy make it to the main event, but once he made it to the main event, they treated him like he was Rey Mysterio. He didn't win any matches. He didn't get over. And they just take the title off of him, and then they take him off TV. They bring him back a few weeks later, and now he's just supposed to be this awesome heel who's all pissed off. And once you make a guy an awesome heel, he's supposed to be dominant and just unstoppable. And basically, he gets into a promo with AJ Styles, no, I apologize, with Austin Aries in the back, and Austin Aries just trashes the match that he won the title with, where he got his ass kicked for 15 minutes, hit the guy in the back of the hammer, and won the belt. And that is the way it happened. But I bet you if you would ask people, that's not the way half the people are going to remember the match. So why even put that into their mind that the guy only won because of the hammer that was laying around in the ring that Ace and Eights left lying around. I was listening to another podcast with Figure 4 Weekly with Brian Alvarez, and he had as a guest on, he had Gabe from Dragon Gate and Evolve and Ring of Honor's Past, and I didn't really get into watching the Ring of Honor stuff that I do watch until after he was gone, but I know that he has a legacy of being a good booker and a good wrestling mind, and one of the smartest things he said when they started talking about TNA wrestling was that TNA has never made somebody that's gone on to have success anywhere other than in their own, TNA. Like, as a whole, as their company, they've been able to make guys go over the top, but no one's ever been able to have that success and leave and take it somewhere else. Such as Consequences Creed left there, went to WWE, and he's been stuck in developmental for like 5 years as Xavier Woods. Karma came over, and Karma had probably the biggest impact on WWE once she came there from TNA, being Awesome Kong. But once she got there was problems with this, that, or the other. She never really got to fulfill her potential. I don't know if she was released or she quit, but she's sitting at home now, and she's basically fighting over Twitter with Rebby Sky. And she's probably somebody that WWE's never really going to take a chance on again. They probably said, when she left, the door was always open, but that door's been open for a while, and every day I think that's getting a little bit, closer to close with all the problems that she's starting with on these independent shows and everything like that. But any of these guys that have ever left and tried to go over there, Marcus Carvon, he left there and he went to, he got put on ECW, and there he at least got a WrestleMania match, but then he had, family trouble. His sister died, and he had to take care of his sister's kid, and he's never really came back to wrestling, but he was one hell of a wrestling talent. But, once they come up due on TNA, if they weren't a WWE guy before they were in TNA, like a Christian or a Rob Van Dam, it's like they don't even want these guys. You saw that when Matt Morgan's deal was up last year, and he was held in limbo for a little while before TNA brought him back, only to release him again. He has a great body and a great physique, but WWE doesn't even want to touch this guy because he's got the stench of TNA on him. And I don't know, how much longer do you guys really think that TNA is really going to be able to keep itself supported, keep its head above water? I'm going to this Bound for Glory thing, and the more I look at it, I got an email today that Angle's not even doing the fan interaction, and I don't know, I think it was pretty stupid that they came out and they told us what was going to be on the pre-show for Bound for Glory before they even told us what's going to be on the Bound for Glory card. And I know they're only setting up a tag team match, but basically they're already telling us the guys like Kaz and Daniels, the Bromance dudes, Eric Young, and the Biss guy, whatever his name is a lawyer guy. They're not going to matter. Every time you see him on TV, all you know is it's going to end up with something on there. If you're doing a pre-show match, the pre-show match to me should honestly be the last thing that's put together. It shouldn't be one of the first things that's booked. Right now, we only know the pre-show match. We know that there's going to be a tag match involving the pre-show match, and we know that there's going to be Bully Ray versus AJ Styles. And I know Bully Ray versus AJ Styles is the true drawing card. It's what people are... It's one of the only things that people are going to order this show for. There's nothing else out there. You can probably do, Sting versus Magnus. Rude's going to have a match in there against Austin Aries or something like that. And you can mix those guys around somehow and figure out what you're going to do. But in the long run, some matches might come out and surprise us and be better than we thought they were going to be, because guys are going to go out there and try to steal the show knowing that this might be the end. But I've been saying this honestly since 2002, and I always feel like this is going to close. And at 2005, 2006, they grew to a bubble, and it looked like they were going to be close to what WWE was. And, they got on Spike TV, and that was a plus, and the rumors went away. But as of right now, they are the Titanic that is taking on a whole bunch of water. I know that people started talking about this a couple months ago when they did the mass releases of a whole bunch of people, and it seemed like everybody was, everybody was getting fired. And the one thing was the dude with the broken neck, Jesse Sorensen. That was the one thing that, broke the back on, broke the straw at everybody's back, or whatever the hell it is. They were going to release this guy that got hurt in the ring, and Dixie promised the job for life. And even if it was a misunderstanding with somebody looking over the books who wasn't involved in the company, who didn't know about Dixie's promise, it still happened. And since then, they haven't really been able to repair their image. But we're going to have to see what's going on in the future. So thank you for everybody. Peace out.